Alright friends, we are back to video lessons. This lesson is about ratios, specifically with rates and unit rates. So when you glue it, you cut it out of your notebook, you're going to glue it in. Line it up. Mine is on page 32, yours might be a little bit different. And then you're going to label it ratios, rate, and unit rate notes. Okay, so this is going to be ratios. Ooh, that's a fat marker. And then it's going to be notes. So that's what you should label. Hopefully yours fits a little bit better than mine. So, starting off, just explaining what rates and unit rates are. Ratios was a way of comparing two different quantities, two different values. So a rate is a ratio. Rate is a ratio of two quantities using different units. So if I want to know the price per ounce or the price per gallon of milk, one part of that is the price of the price, which is dollars, and then the other one is the amount of milk, a gallon or an ounce or whatever you're measuring. So a unit rate compares a quantity of one unit to 1 unit of another quantity. So if you're comparing miles driven and the amount of time in hours it takes, what that boils down to is miles per hour. So we use it in one rate. So that would be a unit rate, miles per hour. So an example with numbers is you pay $350 for every 1/4 ounce of gold. So here we have it matched up. So for 1/4 ounce, you pay $350. So the rate as a ratio is $350 to 1/4 ounce. Then this unit rate we found by making this 1/4 ounce into 1 whole ounce. It takes 4 quarters, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I added those all together, it would equal 1 ounce. And then I have to include, so I have 1/4 ounce is $350 plus 2 quarters is another $350. So I have to add all these together. You would get $1,400 for 1 whole ounce of gold. So using variables or another representation with algebra, a rate is found A units to B units. So up here we had dollars to ounces. A unit rate is you're going to take the A divided by B to 1 unit. So this is why we have to remember how to divide with fractions. So if you need to go back and look that up, that's fine. So let's do some examples to help make it a little bit more clear. Example 1. A nutrition label shows that every 1/4 cup of tuna has 1/2 gram of fat. Question A is saying, how many grams of fat are there for every 1 cup of tuna? So our rate is 1/2 gram of fat to 1/4 cup of tuna. So remember that it asks for fat first and tuna second, so that's what order we put them in. So here's my rate, A units to B units. My unit rate is my A unit. So 1/2 over my B units, 1/4, to my 1 cup of tuna. Remember, this is 1/2 divided by 1/4. I'm going to do that over here. So to divide fractions, you keep the first fraction, switch division to multiplication, flip the second fraction to 4 over 1. You get 4 over 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So this is equal to 2 grams fat for every 1 cup of tuna. So there are 2 grams of fat for every cup of tuna. Question B, how many cups of tuna are there for every 1 gram of fat? So this time, my rate is tuna first, 1/4, to my amount of fat, 1/2. Ooh, throwing stuff. Unit rate is 1/4 divided by 1/2. I'm just going to write it this way. Remember that you keep the first fraction, switch division to multiplication, flip the second fraction. Oh, this is supposed to be 1/4. So then you get 2 over 4, which is equivalent to 1/2. So there's 1/2 cup of tuna for every gram of fat. Alright, so right now, if you need to, take a second and pause, and then catch up on writing, kind of rewatch that if you need another example, and then we'll move on to the practice. So for the practice, we're going to do 1 through 3 together. I'll do it with you on the video, but I want you to do number 4 on your own. Just to get your practice in, see if you can do it yourself without me. So, find the unit rate. So, 360 miles in 6 hours. Our rate is 360 to 6. Unit rate is found by taking 360 divided by 6, which is 60 over 1, and that's miles per hour. So I know that if I went 360 miles in 6 hours, my unit rate is 60 miles per hour. 18 bowlers on 6 lanes. My rate is 18 to 6. That's my ratio I start with. My unit rate, so I take 18 divided by 6, which is 3, and that's bowlers per lane. So there's 3 bowlers per lane. So number 3 might be something that you see on a nutrition label, on like the back of a cereal box or something. So it's 5 grams for every 1/5 of a serving. My rate is 5 to 1/5. My unit rate is 5 divided by 1/5. I'm going to write it 5 divided by 1/5 horizontally instead, so that makes a little bit more sense. So I keep the first fraction, 5 over 1, switch division to multiplication, flip the second fraction times 5 over 1. 5 times 5 is 25. over 1. So that's 25 grams per serving. So whatever you're eating, 25 grams of carbs, let's say, per 1 serving. Right. I want you to try number 4 on your own. It's asking you to find the unit rate. It's going to ask you to find the price per packet. I want you to look for that, price per packet, on each of these different dishwasher detergents. And then you're going to figure out which one is the best value. What's giving you the most dishwasher detergent for your money? When you finish that, raise your hand. I'll come check it and then tell you what activity you can do next.